Welcome to Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I played on the PS5, it's also available on the Xbox Series X, Series S, and PC. So you get to play as either Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Boomerang, or King Shark. You are all part of the Suicide Squad, and you are tasked by Amanda Waller to go to Metropolis and, well, kill the Justice League. They have been possessed by Brainiac and, well, they're wreaking havoc, they're kidnapping people, and, you know, Brainiac's doing his general evil shit. And I gotta say, I actually really loved the story. I thought it was very well done. I liked Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, King Shark. I liked their interactions. I think they did a really good job bringing their personalities to life, giving King Shark his personality, which was different from what I've seen in the comic books or in the movies. They also make some really entertaining jokes because supposedly this takes place in the Arkham universe, which I think is dumb, and I think that's just a horrible decision on their part. But they make jokes kind of about that, like how Deadshot appeared in Arkham City and he was a white dude, but he's black in this. They actually make a joke about that just right out the gate. And I want to address that because I think that was just weird and out of place. Not the joke, but that this takes place in the Arkham universe. It just feels weird. As far as the story goes, though, I really did enjoy it apart from that one element. Oh, and the fact that it ends on some serious bullshit saying that the rest of the story will be continued in, you know, the DLC season coming up. Now let's get on to the audio, and the voiceover work is top notch. I think it's all really well done. Every single character, just the voices fit so extremely well, whether it's Green Lantern, The Flash, Wonder Woman, or Harley Quinn, Deadshot, King Shark, all of them. I think every character in this game was just extremely well cast, and even like the side characters, just NPCs that are members of Argus, are surprisingly well voiced and have awesome, entertaining personalities of their own. You don't get tons of it, but you get little quips from them. As for the music, it's fine. It's nothing that I'm gonna remember, but it does work for the game. And then you've got the sound effects, which I think are well done. They fit with the over-the-top, wacky nature of this game, which I think that over-the-top, wacky nature of this game is why it feels weird that it supposedly takes place in the Arkham universe. I just think it's easier to pretend it doesn't. But that being said, the sound effects are awesome, whether they're the enemies, the gunshots, just all of that stuff I think fit very well in the world. Then you've got the gameplay mechanics and whatnot. And this is a co-op looter shooter, sort of? It's definitely co-op, and I didn't get to test the crossplay, but apparently you can do crossplay, which is cool. But you can also roll fully solo if you want to. I had a lot of people who bought into the pre-launch hype, which a lot of that was negative, so I didn't really have anyone to play this with. That being said, I actually really enjoyed it. I'm just gonna say that from the start. I really enjoyed playing this. I will say the loot element of it could be better. It's not quite like something like Borderlands, which is what you think of when you think of a looter shooter, where you're just getting so much loot all the time. This, you don't get as much. You get something and you end up kind of settling on it because there doesn't seem to be a level to the weapons while your character levels up. There are different quality grades to the weapons, but eventually you will find weapons that you enjoy, and it doesn't matter because honestly the gameplay loop was fun to me. Each of like the secondary characters that are considered the support team, they have their own sets of missions, and you go and do those missions, and not every single one of those missions are the same, but the way you complete the mission will be similar. Maybe you have to rescue civilians, but the only way you can damage enemies in order to find out where the civilians are is by doing criticals or doing affliction moves, etc. And while there's not a huge variety of missions, those modifiers to the missions add flavor to it. But then you have your story missions, which I enjoyed those. I thought they were well done. Most of them just generally end up leading to boss fights, which isn't a bad thing, and that's where you get a lot of story and a lot of what's going on. And then you complete what is essentially the final boss of the game before the DLC comes out. But then you have like loot grindy missions afterwards, like you have endgame content for more loot, and I really enjoyed that. I'm glad it's there. You have a decent variety of enemies that you are going after, and while the characters have somewhat different playstyles, it is mostly still based around shooting. It's their special moves that make each of them unique, as well as their traversal that makes them unique. I personally think everybody but Harley Quinn have great traversal systems. Deadshot has a jetpack that works well. Captain Boomerang can use a Speed Force device, and King Shark is just huge, muscly, and jumps. It's Quinn's that I felt was kind of lacking, despite the fact she was my favorite character to play as. I should also address that there is a variety of weapons. You can upgrade your weapons, your shields, your modifiers to your character, as well as you level your character up. And all of those things do give you new abilities. Different guns function different ways. There are different types of SMGs, and one will be burst fire, one will be more accurate but have less ammo, some will do more damage but less ammo. There's handguns, sniper rifles, all of them. And while there's different types and different classes, they all do function slightly differently, just differently enough that you can notice a difference. And I can't necessarily explain why, but I just happened to really lock into this gameplay and the gameplay loop that you're in. I really ended up enjoying it. I'm not going to say that it's flawless, because I think this game has one huge issue. My biggest issue with the entire game is because it is meant to be co-op, there's the always online feature, and if you disconnect from the servers at all, it kicks you out. And I generally had to actually quit out the whole game and jump back in. But as frustrating as that was, the second I was playing again, I was having fun. And so I kind of forgot about what a pain in the ass that was. But basically, I enjoyed the gameplay loop. I had a lot of fun with it. It could be longer, I'll say that. But at the end of the day, I will happily dive back into this. But let's get on to the controls, and I have zero complaints with the controls. I think they worked very well. I found the movement and shooting to be awesome, and I found that the controls were very responsive when I was doing my special moves and doing just whatever. Now let's get on to the graphics and visuals, and I think it's a great looking game. I do think there are some things that could be done better, specifically water effects. The rain could look better on the characters. While it's in the sky and falling, that looks good, but when it's hitting the characters, it could look better. And when you're moving in water, not super well done. But that being said, the character design is fantastic, and the detail in the characters is phenomenal. Like, it's there. Especially the facial expressions in the characters, whether it's Harley Quinn, King Shark, oh man, just all of the facial expressions, they give you what you want. They give you the character's personality. They help you experience what the character is going through in that time, in that moment. The amount of detail there just helps breathe so much life into the characters. And throughout, there are a ton of like nods to what is going on. There's a place called the Batman Experience, which kind of recounts the events of the Arkham games, which I just thought was funny. But just all over the world, there are these little nods to the Justice League, to things you may have seen or experienced in the previous game, to comic book elements. Then you've got Metropolis, which I'll say the map itself is actually fairly small, which I appreciate because let's be real, a lot of these games have just gotten so big. But traversing across this map doesn't feel like a slog. It's not this awful experience. To go along with the world, the design of Metropolis I thought was really cool, whether it's, you know, the LexCorp building or the Daily Planet building, etc. But seeing the destruction that Brainiac has wrought upon the city is also really well done. And then, you know, a few minor glitches here or there. I had one time where Harley Quinn moved, but, you know, her character moved across the screen, but her body wasn't moving like in a walking motion or anything like that, so that was weird. But otherwise, I really didn't have a lot of glitches going on to complain about. So to wrap this up, I saw a lot of hate for this game before launch, and a lot of those companies that were hating on it before launch just continued that train. It didn't feel like they went into it with an open mind. They decided they hated it before they had played it, and they just continued to hate it. Whereas I went into this not really knowing what it was and what it was actually going to feel like and play like, and I ended up really enjoying it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's a perfect game by any stretch. I do have complaints with it. I think it's much more fun to think of this game due to its wacky nature as not being part of the Arkham universe. But that being said, I really enjoyed playing this. And for me, that's what matters at the end of the day. Did I enjoy the story? Yes. Did it hit some notes that I wasn't expecting? Yes. Did I enjoy the gameplay loop? I really did. I'm comfortable recommending this game. I had a lot of fun with it. Okay, in the comments down below, why don't you tell me who's your favorite member of the Suicide Squad? You can pick from the comics, the movies, or the game. And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share and subscribe. Have a good one.